Okay, students, wish you all a very good morning. And those who are at the live class and those who will listen the recorded sessions, please once again humbly beg your pardon, right, for conducting the class in unusual time. Okay, because I have a compulsory appointment, doctor appointment today evening. So I'm not sure whether, right, is it possible for me to conduct the class in the right time? Therefore, I thought of conducting the class in the morning. So let me start with this point. Last week, we had an examination. But I'm proud to say that some students, not all, some students have done. I gave the same paper for grade 11 students too. Some of you have performed better than them. Hari, out of you, right? Some students have performed, right? I think I send you the detail, right? The marks, right? Some of you have worked or showed, right? A better result than the grade, 2022 A-level, O-level results. Right? So with all those things, children will remember, we are starting, right, third competency today. If you can remember, right, I told you, right, according to the grade 10 syllabus, right, the first three lessons are, first three lessons have designed to discuss on business studies, right? In fact, this is the last lesson for the first term. So I think all can see we have already covered, right, the syllabus in time. So let's move to the third one, business organizations. I think all are ready with hard copies. Puta, once again, if you find it difficult to write down the notes in the same time, you can do it later. So listen to this lecture very carefully, right? And those who will listen to the recorded session also, children, once again, humbly beg your pardon for conducting the class in an unusual time, right? It won't happen again, right? Unless or otherwise there is a power failure, right? So business organizations. What was the first competency? Background for business. We discussed a number of things there. And here the second one was business environment. What can affect the business and its activities? We discussed about them. We discussed about the SWOT analysis, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Right. Then we are into the third competency. The name is business organizations. Now, step by step, we are getting in deep of the right subject. Are we clear? Right. Let me take you to that beautiful presentation which I have prepared for you. I need to know whether you all are like this presentation at the end of the session. Right. It is the third competency session 1, business organizations. Business organizations. Right? Introduction. Do you know, right? The society today is not like, right, the society we had, right, decades ago, because the population has increased. I think it is something that we all are aware of. Population, right, in the society, in the countries have been developed, grown. As the population grows, do you know, the production and the distribution also should be expanded for sure. Otherwise, how the public can satisfy their needs? As the population grows, Puta, right, the production and also the distribution has to be expanded for sure. What they know like? Can you remember in the first competency we discussed about direct production, barter system, modern businesses. So we can see a number of changes, right? Even at today, modern business. Now we're discussing about that. Modern business is growing day by day. For an example, just assume, right? Now, right, the transactions are happening even, right, even without meeting the buyer and the seller physically. Okay, think that whether you're going to order something from, let's say, Daraz, AliExpress, we never see, right, our supplier, right? We never see, right, the supplier physically, but the transaction happens. You can order something from abroad. You can settle the payment instantly. Do you see, right, how the business have been developed? This is the first point. Then, as a result, now what happens? As the production and the distribution is expanded, right, to answer that particular requirement, it has to develop, right, different types of various business organizations. As a result, various business organizations have emerged to cater to the needs and wants of human beings. As a result of this, in the society today, we can recognize a large number of business organizations. Are we clear? Right? This lesson has designed to identify various business organizations and their characteristics. Think about the society around you. Right? Sometimes, right, in close to your house, there may be a small retail shop where one person is working, right? The size is very small. It has limited number of goods available. The transactions are happening in small scale. And just imagine Keel Super, another business organization. I'm actually with you, right? Daraz, another business organization. So the idea of this particular lesson is to introduce you, right, the different types of business organizations and their characteristics. Okay, are we clear? So if you can find these things in your note, please highlight them, right? I'm actually with you in the note, in the tutorial. Let me take you to there, right? So you have to highlight, as the population of the country grows, the production and distribution goods and services have to be, right, industrialized. That means expanded accordingly. As a result, various business organizations have emerged. Okay. Right, these business organizations today are contributing to satisfy human needs and wants. The purpose of this lesson is to identify various business organizations and their characteristics. Right? Good. Let's define a business organization. What is a business organization? Business organization is an individual. Organization can be an individual or a group of individuals, one person, or there may be more. And the most important thing is they are working together. They are working together to do what? To produce goods and services required to fulfill human needs and wants. See how complete this definition is. A business organization can be an individual or a group of individuals. They are working together to produce a good or a service which is required to fulfill or satisfy human needs and wants. Now these things, I don't like that method, but we have to do it. You have to learn these things, definitions by heart. I'm actually with you. Now this is how you define business organizations. Harida? Right. Those who have, don't be afraid. If you have missed this, you will get the recording very soon. What is it once again? A business organization is an individual or group of individuals, don't forget this word, working together to produce a good or a service required to fulfill human needs and wants. Okay, good. Let's continue. Puta, do you know business organizations can be classified? Then on the this is not the classification of business. Okay, business can classify kara. Business can be classified according to the nature of the product. Harida, business can be classified according to the nature of the product. How is it? Sir taught us this. Commodity manufacturing and service providing. So listen to this very carefully. These are the basis of classifying business organizations. Different. There is a difference. There is a difference. According to your syllabus, we have to classify the business organizations under three bases. Three bases. First one, classification of business based on the ownership. After writing this, highlight this word ownership. Second is Puta, business can be classified according to the objective. First learn them. And the third one is classification of business organization based on the scale. Ownership, objective, scale. Again, ownership, objective, scale. Right? Once again, we classified business in the first competency. That was a classification of business according to the nature of the product. But this is the classification of business organizations. Now we can use three bases: based on the ownership, based on the objective, based on the scale. Right. Now we are going to discuss about all these three, right, bases, right, separately. Separately. Let's move to the first one, classification of business based on the ownership. Classification of business based on the ownership. Right. Puta, I think we have discussed about this. What do the owners do in a business? Can someone tell me? Duniti, good morning, Pute. Are you there in the meeting? Duniti, what do the owners do in a business? What is the main responsibility of an owner? Duniti. What is the main responsibility of an owner? Exactly. Very good. What is it? To provide, right? To provide capital to the business. Because resources are supplied by other parties as well. Employees. The owner, what does he do? He introduces capital. Now we're discussing about them. How these business organizations can be classified based on the ownership. Look at the first point. Owners provide required funds to the business. That means capital. They enjoy profits. Look at this point. Very powerful. The owners enjoy the profits and bear the losses. Do you agree? The profit belongs to the owners, and if there is a loss, even that loss should be borne by the owners. The loss can't be transferred to anyone else. The losses should be borne by the owners. In fact, that is the risk of running a business. Whenever you run a business, there is a risk. What is the risk? There may be losses. So, once again, I repeat. The owners enjoy the profit while they have to bear the losses. Third, based on the ownership, now you have to write this down. Businesses are two types. Business organizations can be classified under two arrangements according to the ownership. First one is private sector business organizations. Private sector business organizations. Number two, public sector business organizations. Write these two. Private sector and public sector. Private sector business organizations and public sector business organizations. Right? Let's move to the tutorial. So we have discussed about the definition of business, right? I told you it's an individual or group of individuals who are working together, right, to produce a good or a service to satisfy human needs and wants. Then I told you the business can be classified under three, business organizations can be classified under three arrangements based on the ownership, based on the objective, and based on the scale. We have moved to the first one. You have to write here. First one, Puta, private sector business organizations. And the second is public sector business organizations. Then unna tikak amaru wadak. Habai mama lassana dila thina puta harima lesi padan karaganna baya wenna epa. Harida puthe. This is the right classification according to the O-level syllabus. This is the classification that we have to recognize. Aganna puthe. Puthe. Let me take you to the presentation. Ownership. I told you business organizations are classified under ownership mainly, right? There are two arrangements, in fact. Private sector, second is public sector. There are private sector business organizations and there are public sector business organizations. When it comes under private sector, we can recognize number of arrangements, number of business organizations. Okay. First, we have sole proprietorships. Every business, we are going to discuss about all these business organizations in detail. Just write them down and study. Sole proprietorship is a private sector business. And then we have, right, partnerships. Partnership is also a private sector business. Okay. Third one, incorporated companies. Incorporated companies. Normally we have two companies here, private limited and public limited. But that classification is not required in O-levels. What is the third one? Incorporated companies. It means, Puta, all these three businesses are owned by, right, a private sector, maybe one person or number of persons. Okay. The next is, Puta, right, cooperative societies. Cooperative societies is the third one, owned by, right, a group of individuals. Next is, Pude, different associations like Red Cross, Caritas associations. ඔය ගෙවල් ළඟ තියෙන ලිඳ ළඟ සංගමේ ගෑනු ළමයි හිම ගොඩක් ඉන්නේ ඕපදූප කතා කරන්නේ. ඒක නෙමෙයි මම නිකන් කිව්වොත් unofficial association. So these are the private sector business organizations that we have to recognize according to the, right, O-level syllabus. Let's move to the next one, public sector. Pute, public sector means most of the time these businesses belong to the government. Public, right? Owned by and funded by the government. And mainly it can be classified under these arrangements. පුතේ අහගන්න. There are businesses under the central government. Central government. Okay. The public sector businesses are classified, right? Underneath this, puta, we are with the first one is there are businesses under the central government. Proprietorships. Metin? Dishans? Metin? This is the Metin? PRO, PRI, TOR, SHIPS. Here we have Metin lesson. Okay. Harida. And the next is puta. Other screen එක බලන්න. Right? Next one. ඊට පස්සේ අහගන්න. The central government business organizations can be classified. මේක classify වෙනවා මේ විදියට. Businesses under the central government is classified like this. First one, government departments. Businesses now, public sector businesses. The first one is, right, business under the central government. Okay. First one, for the first classification under that particular point is government departments. Department of Police, Department of Examinations. Examples. And the second arrangement is, Putha, we have state corporations. Okay. Are we clear? State corporations. And we have another one, that is state companies. These three are the examples of business under central government. Okay. Then do you know, we have another, right, type of business, business organizations in the public sector. That is business under the provincial councils. Provincial councils. But we don't discuss about this in O levels. Only the classification is required. Make a ප්‍රශ්නයක් විදිහට එන්න පුළුවන්. Sometimes in the question paper they might ask, show the classification of business organizations according to the ownership. They have to give the entire picture. Next is business under the local government institutions. හරිද? පාඩම් කරගන්න පුළුවන් නේ පුතේ. හරිම ලේසියිනේ නේද? Private sector, public sector, and this is how it is classified. Any questions? Any questions, Lamai? Dishans? Shenuk? Sanuka? Duniti? Tirunada Pute? Right? Good. Now this is how. Okay, Puta, very good. Okay, Dishans, very good, Pute, very good. Now this is how you classify business organizations according to the ownership. Now let's see what is a private sector business organization. Private sector. This is how you recognize private sector business organization. Businesses owned by an individual or a group of individuals are known as private sector business organizations. I told you. When it comes to private sector, the ownership may be with a single person or, right, number of, right, persons. Ownership is with them. They are the people who provide capital. They are the people who bear the, right, the risk. I'm agree with you. I'm agree with you. So if you notice a business which is owned by an individual or group of individuals, don't, right, afraid to say that it's a private sector business. Are we clear? It is the answer for, then my mind questions will do. It is the answer for question number 1. What do you mean by private sector business? This is the answer. A business organization which is owned by an individual or group of individuals. Very simple. is known as a private sector business. Harida. Now the answers for second one. දැන් මේකට උත්තර දන්නවා. Provide examples for private sector business organization. බලන්න කොච්චර ලේසිද කියලා. හොඳේ. දැන් මම ඔයාලට list එකක් දුන්නානේ අර flow chart එකේ. First one, sole proprietorships. මේ තියෙන්නේ. Partnerships, incorporated companies, right? Cooperative societies and other associations. These are the examples of private sector business. This is the answer for question number 2. හොඳට අහගෙන යන්න. මේ තමයි question number 1 එකේ උත්තරේ. These are the examples of private sector business organizations. Answer for question number 2. ලස්සනට ලියා ගන්න. Now question number 3. Public sector. Now try to guess the definition. If private sector belongs to an individual or group of individuals, what has to be the definition of public sector? Businesses funded and owned by the government. Now, who is funding these particular businesses? The government. Who own this? Once again by the government. Are known as public sector business organizations. Harida. Businesses funded and owned by the government are known as public sector business organizations. Accordingly, right, these are the examples. Answer for question number 4. Today, government departments, state corporations, state corporations, state companies, business under the provincial councils, businesses under the local government institutions. But let me highlight it again. According to the O-level syllabus, we discuss only the first 2. මේ දෙක විතරයි අපි in detail කතා කරන්නේ. මේක කතා කරන්නේත් නේ. We are recognizing, identify what is a government department and what is a state corporation. That's it. But remember these examples, right? I told you, so these 3 businesses are owned by the central government. Central government. And apart from these 3, we have some businesses under the provincial councils, and there are businesses under the local government institutions. See? Right. So I think you have found the answers for question numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4. අද දවසේ ඉවරන කලින් මේක ලියාගෙන පාඩම් කරගන්න. හරිද? Right. And once again, as somehow not available today, I'm not conducting the examination, right? And we will postpone the examination to after every class we have examination to be done now. So that will be discussed on the next week. So this is the second classification. Objective. Can you remember the classification of business organization according to the ownership? What just I told you. Business organizations are classified under 2 arrangements. Under the ownership, private sector, public sector. What comes under the private sector? First one, sole proprietorship, partnerships, incorporated companies, cooperative societies, other associations. Right. Then public sector, there are 3 businesses. Some are owned by the central government. Examples, government departments, state corporations, right? State companies. Apart from that, there are businesses which is owned by the provincial councils. Right? Nagara Sabha කියලා කියන්නේ අපි. Nagara Sabha. And sometimes there are business organizations which is owned by different government institutions. Okay? That is how you classify business organization according to the ownership. බලන්න එක දවසේ අපිට කොච්චර කතා කරන්න පුළුවන්ද නේ? මම එක දෙයක් කියන්නද පුතා? ඕගොල්ලෝ බලනවා ඇති ඇයි මේ පන්තියේ මම පොඩි වෙලාවක් කරන්න කියලා. හරි? මම හේතුව කියන්නද? I am using presentations. Then it is very easy for me to teach you. It means I have done the preparation part of mine. Everybody can understand it very clearly. මොටම තේරෙනවා ලස්සනට. And you can watch the recorded session. I don't want to write anything on the board because everything is clear. If I need to write it, I'm using that particular whiteboard. But when I'm using presentations, the method is very, very simple. But for me, I have a homework. ඕගොල්ලන්ට ගන්නන කලින් පුතා මට preparation තියෙනවා ගොඩක් කරන්න. මට තේරෙනවද? So I'm ready to do that. මම ඒක ගොඩක් ආසාවෙන් කරන දෙයක්. ඉතින් පුතේ do your part, act your role. අපි හොඳ result එකක් දාමු. හරිද පුතේ? Right. So let's move to the second classification of business organizations. Let's see how the business organizations are classified according to their objective. Classification of business based on the objective. Right. Businesses are active in achieving a variety of objectives. There are businesses, some businesses have been designed to achieve different types of objectives. In other words, the owners of a business operate to achieve a certain objective, whatever the ownership, right? Sometimes private sector, sometimes public sector. The owners have a certain objective. Otherwise, no one is running that particular business. Every business has a certain objective. According to the objective, once again, businesses can be classified under two arrangements. First one, business organizations. There are business organizations with profit motive. For-profit businesses or profit motive businesses, right? Both the words are for-profit businesses and profit motive is same thing. Profit motive or for-profit businesses. These businesses have been established with an idea of maximizing the profits. Profit maximization is their main objective. We are conducting this particular business to achieve a profit. Agreed. Number two, right? Not-for-profit businesses or non-profit motive businesses. Not-for-profit businesses or non-profit motive businesses. This is how you classify business organizations. Not-for-profit businesses and non-profit motive business. It is the second classification. How to classify business according to the ownership, private sector, public sector, and objective for-profit business or profit motive businesses and non-profit motive, not-for-profit business and non-profit motive businesses. Right. Now, this is how I'm introducing you with that classification. Once again, there are business organizations. It is classified under two arrangements here: for-profit or profit motive and not-for-profit or non-profit motive. For-profit businesses, there are some, right, private sector for-profit businesses and public sector for-profit businesses. In the private sector, some businesses, let me tell you, most of the businesses are profit motive. I repeat. In the private sector, most of the businesses are profit motive businesses. And don't forget, in public sector also, we have a profit motive business. And in the private sector, so these are the examples of private sector for-profit businesses. First one, sole proprietorship. Private sector profit motive business. Second is partnerships. Once again, private sector profit motive. Private sector owned by, right, a different, number of individuals, but the objective is to maximize the profits. Not only that, incorporated companies, private sector profit motive business. Then taggala hitagannaku, cert all 5 examples. Out of those 5, the first 3 are profit motive. Anit deka metana nahani. Then what they have to be? They have to be private sector non-profit motive businesses. Now let's see the public sector profit motive business. We have only one element. That is state companies. Right? Dishans, there is no business called cooperative companies. Cooperative societies. Right? First one, right? So the public sector, example of public sector profit motive business is state companies. We have only one. Then not-for-profit businesses. Here also we can classify it under 2 arrangements. There are private sector non-profit business organizations and public sector non-profit business organizations. Example of private sector non-profit organizations. Cooperative societies. Second is other associations. Right? Sole proprietorships, partnerships, incorporated companies are private sector profit motive. Cooperative societies and other associations are private sector non-profit motive. But remember, this is how you classify the business organizations under the objective. Ownership. Then public sector, I told you in O levels, we highlight only 3 organizations. We have written one here. Right? But remember, state company is a public sector profit motive business. Then you can easily decide what are the public sector non-profit businesses. Government departments and state corporations. Okay, government departments and state corporations. Here we have the full picture. These have you classify business organizations according to or based on the objective. Are we clear? Any questions, Pute? Any questions? Lazy neda puta මේක. මට පොඩ්ඩක් මහන්සි වෙන්න දින ලොකු මහන්සියක් නෙමෙයි presentation එක හදන එක මහ දෙයක් කිය. But it is very clear to all, right? Isn't it? Once again, if you have any suggestions, please put them forward. Right? Understood? Perfect. Perfect. Now, let's recognize the answers for the next set of questions. What do you mean by for-profit business? Accordingly, here also we have 5 questions. Profit motive private sector, profit motive public sector. Non-profit motive private sector, non-profit motive public sector. I'll show this particular classification again. Sole proprietorships, partnerships, incorporated companies. They are the examples of private sector for-profit business. And you have one business organization, which is public sector for-profit business organizations. And there are 2, right, private sector non-profit business organizations. And there are 2 public sector non-profit business organizations. This is the answer for question number 9. 9 eකට උත්තරේ මේකෙන් ගන්න පුළුවන්. Or take a screenshot quickly. Okay. Good. Now let's see. What do we mean by the answer for question number 5? What is for-profit business organizations? As the name suggests, you can understand. When the main objective of the business is to earn profits, they are known as profit-oriented businesses. What is it? When the main objective of the businesses is to earn profit, they are known as profit-oriented or profit motive businesses. What is it? Their main target is to generate or maximize the profits. When the business's main target is to generate the profit, that is known as profit motive business. Examples, question number 6. Sole proprietorships, partnerships, incorporated companies and state companies. Both private sector and public sector. These are the answers for question number 6. Sole proprietorship is a profit motive, private sector. Partnership is a profit motive, private sector. Incorporated companies, profit motive, private sector, but state company, profit motive, public sector. Understood? Good. Let's discuss about non-profit business organizations. When the main objective of the business is to ensure welfare of the members or the society, sometimes the country. What is it? When the the objective of this business, of a business, is to ensure the welfare of the members. Sometimes non-profit business organization just provide their service to their members only. Sometimes the society, sometimes the country as a whole. For an example, think about the Department of Police. Police here. They are the target of the the objective of the policy is to welfare, right? To provide the ensure welfare of the society or the country as a whole. Okay. And if this is achieved, it is known as a non-profit organizations. These businesses have been established not with an idea of generating losses, generating profits. Their target is to provide a service to the society. Samajයට මොකක් හරි සේවයක් කරන්න. Think about the Red Cross. Okay. Lions Club. Okay. Death grant associations. Sports clubs. They have been established not with an idea of generating profits. Yeah, exactly, Dishans. They have been established to provide a service to the society, sometimes to the members. Examples. The answer for question number 8. Cooperative societies, other associations, state companies, departments. These two are private sector non-profit organizations, and these two are public sector non-profit organizations. See how clear the note is? ආසාවෙන් පාඩම් කරගන්න. ලස්සන subject එකක් මේක. I told you, this subject lives until you exist. So this is a subject where you can't forget. It will be useful in a different ways, number of ways. So I think we have written the answers for question number 5, 6, 7, 8, and 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. 9 is this one. Sole proprietorships, partnerships, incorporated companies, here state companies. Cooperative societies and other associations. Public sector, government departments, and state corporations. See? Right? Let's move to the third classification of business organization. What is it? It is the classification of business according to the scale, size. According to the size of the business, we can classify it. Lassana kodasa. හරි අහගන්න පුතා. හොඳට අහගන්න. Classification of business based on the scale. පුතේ. One of the most obvious ways in business differ is their size. ටග්ගලලුවට ගන්න. Retail shop close to your house and Keel Super. Look at the size. I'm actually with you. Right? So the businesses can be classified according to their size. Pute. This classification of the most important thing is to classify this business according to the scale. We are using different criteria. We use different criteria. We are discussing about them later. Once again, right? Based on the scale, we can recognize two types of business. Make a may විදිහටම ලියා ගන්න ඕන. Number one, small and medium scale business organizations. අපි සිංහලෙන් කියන්නේ සුළු හා මධ්‍ය පරිමාණ අහලා තියෙනව නේද? ප්‍රවෘත්ති වලට කියන්නේ සුළු හා මධ්‍ය පරිමාණ ව්‍යාපාර සංවිධාන. Small and medium scale business organizations. First one. Then the second one you can easily understand, large scale business organizations. Hari. Right. Now, this have a classified business. Mega mandila nahe puta. Mega alien no nahe. Right. Make a local classification ekak nahe. Small and medium scale and large scale. Ungne amat katiyaga. Then I told you, right? Podakin. Different criteria. මෙන්න මෙතනදී මම ලස්සන කොටසක් කරනවා. මෙන්න මේකට තාම උත්තරේ මම දුන්නේ නැහැ. පොඩ්ඩක් ඉන්න. This is how you define small and medium scale businesses. SME. මේ බලන්න ලස්සන වචනයක් තියෙනවා SME businesses. SME කියන්නේ small and medium enterprises. Right? පුතා, this is how you classify or recognize. Right? මම මේකේ අර criteria ටික දෙන්නම් මේ definition එක කරාට පස්සේ. These have you recognized or define a small and medium scale businesses. හොඳට අහගන්නකෝ. Businesses with a small amount of capital. Invested with a small number of employees. Having a small market share. Right? And which cannot create a considerable influence on the respective industry are known as small and medium scale businesses. What is it? Small amount of capital, small number of employees, small market share, and they can't influence the industry. For an example, let's say industry. I'm going to discuss it with an example. Garment industry. In Sri Lanka, we have an industry called ready-made garment industry. Right? Let's say close to your house, there is a small garment business. There are 2 employees, right? Who is doing swing and, cutting the fabric. That is a small scale business. Why? Their investment of capital is small, number of employees is small, small market share. And remember, that business can't influence the industry of garments a lot. A business එක නැවැත්තුවයි කියලා පුතා කිසිම ප්‍රශ්නයක් නැහැ industry එකට. Okay? Because that is a small and medium scale business. Right? Then, can you guess what happens here? Can someone tell me? How to define large scale business organization? Very interesting. Business with a large amount of capital invested, large number of employees, having a large market share, right? And which can create a considerable influence on the respective industry are known as large scale businesses. Hari? Onam podi challenge එකක් දෙන්න. Can you all guess the different criteria used classifying businesses? දැන් මේක තමයි මේකෙන් මම අහනවා වගේ ප්‍රශ්නයක්. Can you all let me know Can you all let me know different criteria used in classifying the large scale and small and medium scale businesses? අහන දේවල් මොනවද? Right. මේ ටික ලියා ගන්න පුතා මෙතන. මෙන්න මේ ටික ලියා ගන්න ඕන මෙතන. Here. Following are some commonly used criteria for classifying business according to the scale. First one, මොකද පළවෙනි එක? Invested capital. Amount of invested capital. Amount of invested capital. Next. Number two. Number of employees. Number of employees. ඔන්න මෙතන මෙහෙම ලියා ගන්න. මෙතන කියනවා පුතා අපිට ඩිපාර්ට්මන්ට් එකක් තියෙනවා පුතේ census and statistics department කියලා. හරි? Right? Census and statistics department. ඒකේ කියනවා පුතා ලස්සන්ට ඕන්න මේකත් ලියා ගන්න. What is the department? Census and statistics. That particular that it says if the number of employees are less than 25, it is a small and medium scale business. You can write it and here. What are the characteristics of small and medium scale business? Right? Number of capital, amount of capital introduced, number of employees, right? Market share of the business, right? And the next one, amount of energy used. That means electricity, amount of energy used. Once again, right, we can use four criteria here. Amount of capital, number of employees, market share, and the amount of the energy. Right. So we have just defined small and medium scale business. Matakada? Ara kalin tiba slide එක තිබ්බ ටික ලියා ගන්න. Now characteristics. මෙහෙම ලියා ගන්න පුතා characteristics ටික. Invested a small amount of capital. First one. Invested a small amount of capital. මෙහෙම ලියා ගන්න දෙවෙනි එක. Right? Number of employees less than 25. Number of employees less than 25 within brackets according to the census and statistics department. I repeat, according to the census and statistics department. Next one, right? Using a small amount of energy. Using a small amount of energy. බොහොම පොඩි power එකක් පාවිච්චි කරන්න ඒගොල්ලෝ. And a small market share. Small market share. Next is, right, cannot influence the industry. Cannot influence the industry. Okay. Good. Then the definition of large scale businesses. You have to write this definition here. මෙන්න මේක ලියලා මේ කහ පාට තියෙන දේවල් highlight කරගන්නත් ඕන. හරි? This is the definition of large scale. This is how you describe a large scale businesses. Let's recognize the characteristics of a large scale business. First one, right? Higher investment of capital. Higher investment of capital or large investment of capital. Okay. Large number of employees. You can write within brackets more than 25. Large number of employees. Okay. Using a high capacity of power and energy. Using high capacity of power and energy. The next is having a large market share. and can influence the industry. Having a large market share and can influence the industry. Harida? Right. ඔන්න තියෙනවා පොඩි homework එකක්. මෙන්න මේක. පුතේ, can you remember the first classification of business organizations? Ownership කියන එක මතකද? I told you that the business can be classified as private sector and public sector. Can you recognize a few differences between these two? Try එකක් දෙන්න. මම next week මට මතක් කරන්න. Dishans, please remind me to give you the answer next week. පොඩ්ඩක් කල්පනා කරලා ලියන්න. Private sector ගැන sir මොනවද කිව්වේ? Sir told that the individuals, the capital is introduced by the an individual or group of individuals for private sector. Public sector වලට මොකද්ද sir කිව්වේ? Capital is introduced by the government. ඔන්න එක difference එක. Then sir told something else. Most of the private sector businesses are profit oriented. Most of the public sector businesses are social welfare, non-profit motive businesses. ඔන්න වගේ උත්තර දෙකක් ලියා ගන්න. හරි? මෙන්න මේක නම් චුට්ටක් අමාරු වෙයි. ඒත් පොඩ්ඩක් මේක පෑනෙන් ලියන්න එපා, පැන්සලෙන් ලියන්න. මොකද ඔයගොල්ලෝගේ උත්තර සමහරට වරදින්න පුළුවන්. When you recognize a different business organization, what are the things that you have to consider? Think and write. Harida? Right. So, with that, we end the first session of business organizations. තේරුණාද පුතේ පාඩම? ලස්සන කොටසක්. පිටු කීයක් කරාද අපි? පිටු 7ක්. 1 hour, right? Within 1 hour, we can cover a certain value, certain amount of the syllabus. Once again, if parents are listening, please check whether your child is working, completing the note. අපි බලමු. අපි එකතු වෙලා ලස්සන ගමනක් යමු. So my target is to give, right, a very good result to all of you. But I can't do it personally. I need your commitment. Your role has to be act. Then that's all for today. On the next week, I think most of the time the schools will be started and we will have the classes in the regular time. So until that happens, and if you have not settled the fees, Puta, please be kind enough to make the payment in time because it is the last day. ඉක්මනට payment එක දාන්න. දාලා මට මේ slip එක එවන්න ඕනේ. Right? And that's all for today. Thank you very much. May God bless you.